watching Buckingham News. Before we start, we would like to pay tribute to Sana Kolla, the Buckingham student and our friend who died on Sunday evening. Sana, a 22-year-old communication, media and journalism student from India, was a much-loved figure in the university community and was renowned for her contribution to student life. We at Buckingham News mourn the passing of a treasured colleague and pass our deepest sympathies to her family. A commemorative Facebook page was set up within hours of the news of Sana's death and was the focus of the shock and grief of friends past and present. Many of her friends will gather at the Old Town Law Mill tonight at 6 to remember a beloved friend and classmate. Buckingham News will give details of any memorial event. NHS Chief Executive Simon Stevens has expressed his aim to ensure protection for small regional hospitals. Buckingham is of course on the small end as far as towns go, but our hospital is covered by Buckinghamshire Healthcare Trust. So how will it aim to help small regional hospitals affect our local and medical services? Joanna Lynn has the story.
The NHS England Chief Executive, Simon Stevens, aims to protect the future of small regional hospitals and drive up its quality of service at the same time. NHS is setting out the partnerships between some of the best hospitals in the country, such as the Royal Marsden Cancer Hospital, the Christie Cancer Hospital in Manchester, and Moorfields Eye Hospital in London, to improve the standards in smaller district hospitals. In a speech to the Confederation of British Industry in London, Mr. Stevens will set out how partnerships between leading NHS hospitals and smaller ones will drive up the quality of services. Hospitals that are considered excellent performers will form groups to raise standards and will set up clinics and other services to the local district general hospitals.
Well, the benefits are largely that of convenience, but one needs to understand some of the motivations of the way the NHS work. So this would bring specialist care to the area, providing it comes here, of course. But on the other side of the coin, there is the threat to the emergency medicine or the accident and emergency department at Milton Keynes, for example.
The partnerships are supposed to increase the efficiency of smaller local hospitals and aim to provide a quicker service to those living closer. This is Joanna Lynn, Buckingham News.
With winter on the horizon and daylight fading earlier and earlier, the efficiency of streetlights comes into question, and little to no answers have been provided for the broken street lamps in Chandos Park. We sent Lisa Collins to shed some light on the situation.
The street lamps that line the path alongside Chandos Park have become increasingly inconsistent when guiding people along the path. The lights seem to turn off when people approach them, causing uncertainty about the security of the surrounding university grounds, which are credited as being the safest in the country. As you can see, I'm here at the park in front of the lights, all of which are turned off despite the built-in motion sensors. If you look along the path, the entire strip is covered in darkness, which may incur a sense of fear into some and actually dissuade them from using the most convenient path.
I feel the walk quite intimidating. Like when you go to over to Sainsbury's on Chandos Road, it's being like not lit up at all.
A little bit uneasy, especially when you walk into the dark.
It wasn't that bad actually, but I do have a problem with seeing at night, so I just sort of stare down at the road, try to get home for the most part.
Dee Bunker, head of student welfare, said, "I have to say I've not heard of this before and could only presume that this is the responsibility of Aylesbury Vale Council, who would look after the street lamps and not the university directly. Obviously, it is very worrying for students if this is happening. We would hope that the council would be able to help you further." The matter is, however, outside of the university's jurisdiction, but it does taint the record of sanctuary and security that the university boasts. The council claim that they will tend to the issue and put the public's mind at ease. For now, the future of the path remains dark, but with the council notified, there may be light at the end of the tunnel. This has been Lisa Collins, lighting up your life for Buckingham News.
On Friday, the Law Society held a landmark debate on international law and how well codified the rules actually were in practice. We sent Alex Shattuck to check it out.
The debate, organised by the University of Buckingham's Law Society, argued whether the concept of international law was valid or not.
It began with the two teams discussing their opinions on international law and ended with the students asking questions.
We're trying to articulate what is the correct conception of law, and that's my responsibility.
That law is positive law. We argue that that is in fact a very poor idea of what law is.
There is no such certainty in international human rights.
They're suggesting that later international human rights law should be called law. We are saying no, it is law.
Right, the noes have it, the noes have it.
It was a heated debate and ended with the noes winning by a small margin. This is Alex Shattuck for Buckingham News.
In other news, the University Students' Union executive is already a body down after just 3 weeks of term. Viviane Agurovia was dismissed on Wednesday for not attending meetings for 3 weeks on the trot and for not providing any reason for her absence. Her dismissal appears to come as part of SU President Sayed Shah's use of the Constitution to stamp out inefficiency in the SU. Measures so far have included the fining of several societies for non-attendance in events meetings. A 16-year-old boy has tragically died after being hit by a car near Aylesbury Rugby Club in Weston Turville on Saturday, the 3rd of October. The boy was hit about 9:50 p.m. on Weston Road. The youth, Ben Roberts, died at the scene. He was hit by a red Seat Leon. For the first time in British history, a new law has been passed which entitles consumers to a full refund for up to 30 days after the purchase. Digital content such as e-books or online films and music will now be protected by the new law, and customers will be entitled to a replacement if the downloads do not work. Since the 5th of October, big retailers have had to charge 5 pence for all single-use plastic bags. The initiative, which copies similar legislation across Europe, aims to raise money to donate to charity or to a specific campaign that will benefit the environment. Sports are a vital activity of university life. They create good grounds for competition and also helps with fitness. The Sports and Societies Fair last Wednesday gives students an opportunity to sign up to new clubs and for freshers to socialize. Ijoma Wanko went to find out more.
The fair showcased all the clubs and societies the university had to offer. It gave students an opportunity to be part of a larger family, and also it provided a forum for interaction and socializing. The sports union at Buckingham gives students an opportunity to play their favorite sports and learn new ones with people who share the same interests as them. It enables them to form great friendship and celebrate good sportsmanship.
The Caribbean Society, because I'm from the Bahamas and I thought it would be a good way to meet some other students from the same region.
I'm here to join the Languages Society and I want to meet friends and people that speak Spanish.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to come here and just meet a lot of friends, get a lot of food.
I'm president of North Atlantic Society, so I'm here to promote that with my vice president and just have a go, play some laser tag.
Callum Roberts, the university sports officer, has a lot to say about the sporting activities and events that are available to students.
Clubs that we currently have within the Buckingham Sports Union are football, rugby, cheerleading, cricket, polo and the Med School Multi-Sports Club.
From basketball to badminton, students can be rest assured that there's something available for them. This is Ijoma Wanko for Buckingham News.
Now over to sports with Toby Abaje.
Thank you, Queenie. Last weekend, the University of Buckingham's football team faced off against Wing Village FC in an interdivisional trophy match. Did they stand any chance of getting their hands on some silverware? Michael Okobondu went to find out.
The 3 p.m. game between the University of Buckingham and Wing Village FC started off a rather one-sided one, with Wing Village FC having majority of the shots in the first 10 minutes of the game, and finally putting one end in the 40 minutes of the game, and another in the 30 minutes of the game by their striker Mitch Young. The match eventually started to balance out towards the end of the first half, as Buckingham made it 2-1 in the 40th minute with a well-placed shot by Ian Wender. To complete his hat-trick, the Wing Village FC striker Mitch Young in the 43rd minute of the game scores another goal to conclude the first half of the game. The second half of the game was intense, with end-to-end football from both teams. Buckingham were unable to come back from the 3-1 deficit at halftime, but Wing Village FC, being the more clinical side, added another 3 goals in the second half of the game. The game led to a 6-1 defeat with 6 goals to Wing Village FC and 1 goal to Buckingham University, causing them to be knocked out of the cup competition.
Well, we started off pretty well the first 5 minutes, and then we missed to score some goals in the first half, and then we just lose our heads. We miss our shape for the rest of the game. More than 80 minutes. We were just not consistent enough. Yeah, unlucky.
This is Michael Akogundu for Buckingham News.
Last week, the Students' Union and UNICEF Society organised the laser tag event to raise money in support of children that have been displaced by the war in Syria and the subsequent refugee crisis. We sent Noni Okoye to see how much money could be raised for this vital cause.
Laser tag is an individual or team sport where players attempt to score points by tagging targets.
Joining me are the students who are participating in the recreational event.
The UNICEF Society President Itohan Emman explains why laser tag is very important to them.
We're doing this to raise money for UNICEF. Our current appeal is the Syrian refugee appeal. So I don't know if you've heard about what's going on in Syria. There's a refugee camp in Syria. Unfortunately, right now they don't have water, they don't have food, and a lot of them are trying to escape into Europe and other countries, but they're not letting them in, obviously. So we're doing this to raise money for them in the camps, to provide medicine and health care, water, food, and education as well.
Like a way to give back to society. I joined the event because I like playing laser tag, and it's so much fun.
Obviously, it's a Wednesday, I'm bored, so I want to have some fun, but at the same time, I want to support the kids of Syria.
After the event, the group managed to raise the sum of £517 for the refugees in Syria. This is Noni Okoye from Buckingham News.
And now, back to the studio.
The 8th of October marked National Poetry Day, a British campaign promoting that most beloved written form. On the first or second week of October every year, an entire day is dedicated to celebrating the genre through public performances, events, and other engaging activities. Noor Bahman has the story.
The campaign was founded in 1994 by entrepreneur and publisher William Sieghart. His main objective of creating the day was for poets to be able to share their work and gain the recognition he believed they deserved. From 1999 onwards, the annual event was themed, with this year's being Light. The 8th of October marked National Poetry Day, a British campaign promoting poetry. The first or second week of every October is dedicated to celebrating the genre through public performances, events, and other engaging activities. James Rowell, a lecturer at the University of Buckingham's Business School, published a collection of poetry this month entitled Natural Worlds. He has been writing poetry from the age of 18.
Other people express themselves in pictures or prose or singing or karaoke or whatever it may be. But I think this is a good way for individuals to be creative in their own right as well.
The works of several renowned poets such as Dylan Thomas, T.S. Eliot, Kipling, Auden, and many more are publicly read and enjoyed by poetry enthusiasts. The day also encourages budding poets to showcase their work and gain publicity. This is Noor Bahman for Buckingham News.
The Great British Bake Off finished exactly a week ago, but with it being National Cake Week this week, Buckingham News is keeping the baking spirit alive with this delicious recipe. When Liv gave her lemons, Alex de Brouw, or is it de Baker, baked a wonderful lemon drizzle cake.
Today we're going to be baking a recipe from the one and only Mary Berry. And what cake are we going to be making today? A lemon drizzle cake. Preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 160 degrees for a fan or gas mark 4. You will need 1 loaf tin, 275 grams of self-raising flour, 225 grams of caster sugar, 225 grams of baking spread straight from the fridge, 1 level teaspoon of baking powder, 4 tablespoons of milk, lemon juice, 2 to 3 lemons depending on how zesty you like it, 75 grams of granulated sugar, 4 eggs. First, thoroughly grease the tin, paying close attention to the bottom. Then get a large mixing bowl and add the flour, sugar and margarine. Measure a teaspoon of baking powder, levelling it off with a knife. Add the eggs. Watch out for the shell. Pour 4 tablespoons of milk. Grate the zest of 2 lemons and then stir. Fold the mixture into the loaf tin and then neaten. And now place it in the centre of the oven and bake for 35 minutes. While the cake is baking, keep yourself busy. Add lemon juice to the granulated sugar until it's runny. When your lemon drizzle is cooked, it should be nice and brown and have shrunk a little from the sides of the loaf tin. Use a knife to remove the cake from the tin and then turn over onto a cooking wire rack. Turn the cake over and leave to cool for 5 minutes. Make sure your glaze is of a runny consistency and then cover the top of the cake generously. And then pop it onto a serving plate. Looks yummy! So, when life gives you lemons, make lemon drizzle cake. This is Alex de Brouw for Buckingham News.